After everything we endured last year. Everything that Sydney sacrificed.
What do you mean, sacrificed?
Hi everyone, we are in the third part of this episode 5 of season 2 review. I started the Sandy Trail with a focus on Clara's journey in season 1, 2, and eventually season 3. Season 2, there were quite a few new characters and everyone had their own storylines, and I still wanted to focus on Clara's journey. So therefore, I didn't really talk much about Tom Parker and his wife Mary Parker in this Sandy Trail too. But I did want to bring this scene up just because it was important as to Clara's journey and what happened in the past between her and Sydney.
Did you really never work it out? Sydney and Charlotte were in love. He married Eliza to save you.
Season 2 was jam-packed, in my opinion. I felt like there's so many going on in season 2. Tom, he is the type of man that hides his emotion very well. Season 2, one of the biggest storylines in season 2 was Sydney's death and how it affected everyone, the family, and everyone dealt with it in their own way. We haven't really seen much of Tom dealing with the grief over Sydney's death. Again, he hides his emotion very well, and I think this is one of the very few scenes when he just let it out. Like, he was very emotional in the scene with Mary, when Mary told him about Sydney being in love with Charlotte. In season 1, I talked in the Sandy Trail 1 that Tom was cheering on for Eliza and Sydney. He was like, Eliza came back into your life, what you're waiting for, like this is your second chance. This is the universe telling you that Eliza is the one. Like if it meant, for something real, like it's gonna come back to you, and she came back. So he was all team Eliza and everyone else was team Charlotte for Sydney. So Tom really didn't pay attention to the little cues in season 1 of Sydney and Charlotte. Like, they had a thing going on. Like, they were falling in love with each other. They wanted to get married and settle down and have a family. Tom was very blind. I mean, it's typical for a guy, but Mary just saying it like, you were so blind. Like, you were so blind that you didn't recognize that your brother was in love with Charlotte, and that you didn't recognize that your brother's life is also important as your business. Like, your brother sacrificed the rest of his life to save you and your business and your investment in Sanditon. So it just showed that Tom did really a bad thing, and I think it struck him to the core in this scene, and that's when his emotional side began to show, and that's what we were waiting for. He'd been hiding it all along about Sydney's death, and then he realized, he's like, oh my goodness, like that's like the last thing that I did to my brother. Like, I didn't even know. I was so blind, and he was stuck in a loveless marriage until his unexpected death, and I did that to him. So that definitely stirred something inside of him to the point where he realized, like, oh my goodness, like I did that to my younger brother. Like, how could I do that?
But you would throw all that away for a game of dice.
He realized that he put himself above his family, above his brother, and his happiness. If he knew in season 1, he wouldn't have allowed Sydney to marry Eliza. If he really loved his younger brother, like a true brother that he should have been, he would have told Sydney to marry Charlotte and figure out a different way to rebuild the town, or just lose it all. Family is more important, right? Like, family should be above work life and business life, family should be like number one. So it really got to him in this scene, and I think, part of me, like, I felt bad for him because he just realized that after Sydney died, so he doesn't have that chance, that opportunity to make it right with his brother. He's like, oh my goodness, like, I did that to my brother, like, that's like the last thing I did to him before he died, and it's just not the greatest closure, like, if a loved one dies, I mean, of course you want to say the last "I love you," like, you have a good last conversation with them before they die. But finding this out after his death, it struck him to his heart, and that's why he's been so emotional. And I think part of the emotional side coming out of him, I think it also includes the grief that he's been holding in for so long, and he finally released it in this scene.
What do you want, Edward?
I know I'm the last person you would seek comfort from now, but I know you better than anyone, and it frightens me to see you like this.
So there's still some Esther left in her. Even though she's being poisoned by Edward, like, she still has her awareness that Edward came into the room, and she's like, what you doing here? Like, get away from me. However, he came close to her and, like, started to, like, grab her hand and try to show some affection and love and support, pretending to care for her, but really he doesn't care about her.
Just a little dizzy, that was all.
You cannot see how you appear. I fear you're in the grip of some kind of mania.
Oh my goodness. So he brushing his finger against her arm, looks like it's a rash on her lower arm. That physical touch, I mean, it's intimate, even though they're brother and sister, it's just like the way he touching her. I think part of it reminded her of season 1, like how they used to be very intimate with each other.
Why is this happening to me, Edward?
Sleep now.
He playing this role really good, pretending to be the hearing brother, half-brother to her, pretending that there's actually mania, like there is literally a mental issue going on with her, but really not. He's been poisoning her and making her mind go crazy and acting really strange, and it's just not normal. So he's doing this on purpose, trying to pretend to be like the good brother, the good man in all of this, and that he had nothing to do with this.
You will feel much the better for it.
Part of Esther, I feel like there's still like a 10% of the real Esther in her. Like, she knows this is not normal, this is definitely not her real self, and she knows like there's something up. Half of her, she's like, help me, Edward, but the other half of her, she's like, I still don't trust you, Edward. Edward better not do it again, but we didn't get to see what he did after that. But he did look over his shoulder, and I think he wanted to make sure that she was sleeping, but part of me, I felt like there's still some good in him, like, okay, maybe I should stop doing this to her, if not, she's gonna die. So hopefully he didn't do it again.
It's you, making her ill. In London, I saw unfortunates with matching symptoms. Scratching. Laudanum. You've exchanged it for her concoction.
Don't feign shock, Clara. You agreed to this.
I didn't agree to poison her.
Oh, Okay, so Clara is catching on. She knows that Edward has a game plan, and she was aware that he would do anything just to get the money and the fortune and the name on the will, and she knows that he got everything planned and set up to attack Esther, but she didn't think that Edward would go that far. We as the viewers, we know what he's capable of, and he would do anything in his power to get what he wants.
Then why tell me she was taking it? Besides, it's working. She's unraveling. The moment Lady Denham believes her mad, she will rapidly disinherit her.
She takes that tincture because she wants a child. This seems especially cruel, Edward, even for you.
Edward said, then tell me why she's taking it. Well, Esther didn't know that you poisoned her drink, so that's on you, Edward. He's very manipulative, very persuasive. He's a sneaky, clever, bad guy all around. I'm actually glad that Clara is stepping up, standing, defending Esther in this conversation. This is going too far, to the point where I think Edward wouldn't care if something really bad happened to Esther, like possibly a death. I don't think he cared for Esther anymore. I think he got so mad that Esther married Lord Babington, and he tried to get her back after that, and she said no to him. So part of all the game plan that he has in season 2 is actually revenge toward Esther and her husband. Esther and Clara have something in common, which is motherhood. Clara is a mom now, and second of all, Esther told Clara about what happened during her first pregnancy with her baby daughter. So Clara feels for Esther. She's like, this is not good for the health of Esther, and this is ruining her chance to get pregnant again and to have children with Lord Babington. The way that Edward is talking about Esther in this conversation, that's the sound of revenge to me. He doesn't care. He taking any chances that he can get to ruin the reputation, the public image of Esther, and to get Esther off the will of Lady Denham. Hopefully, Lady Denham hashes this. If she does find out what Edward had been doing since the beginning of him coming back to Sanditon, Lady Denham gonna kick him out for the rest of his life, out of the family.
For you.
It gladdens me that she cannot have one. And if Babington believes her mad, so much the better.
This is not just about George. This is revenge.
She betrayed my trust.
He using his son, baby George, as the forefront, the puppet of what he actually doing behind the scene. He taking advantage of his son to get a name, his son or his name, on the will of Lady Denham. Clara, we'll see if she gonna tell Lady Denham about what's really going on, or even Esther. But if I was in her position, I would be struggling. I would be like, should I tell Lady Denham or not? Should I keep being on Team Edward, or should I move to Team Esther? What he said about Lord Babington, if Lord Babington leaves Esther or divorce her, he would be even happier. So part of that revenge is that he was very mad, very angry at the fact that Esther left him for Lord Babington and married Lord Babington instead of Edward. So it was like a slap in the face for Edward when she married Lord Babington, and now she's trying to slap her face in season 2.
And for that, there are consequences. She shall attend the ball tonight. Make sure of it.
When Edward told Clara that Esther betrayed his trust and that there are consequences, at the same time, it was a warning to Clara, don't betray his trust too, because if you do, he will make you suffer the consequences. He's a very evil man, and he grabbed her arm, Clara's arm, in the scene and told her to make sure that Esther attend the ball tonight as well. And that is not a good idea, but he wants Esther to go to the ball too, because then if he poisoning her, you know, the side effects of that poison, it might make her go crazy at the ball and make herself on full display of humiliation in front of everyone at the ball. Clara is really in a tight position. If I was her, I would have struggled too. She released her breath. She's like, oh my goodness, what just happened? I just found out now that Edward was planning something else. It's not just about baby George and getting married. It's more than that. It's revenge to Esther, Lord Babington, and in a way to Lady Denham too. Because Lady Denham did tell Edward at the end of season 1 to get out of Sanditon, basically kick him out of the family. So this is all about revenge, giving revenge back to his family members, and Clara finding out the true intention in this conversation. It definitely changed her perspective, and it changed her views, her opinion on Edward. Like, wait, why did I fall for you? Why did I believe that you changed to a better man? You're still the same old Edward that I've known before I got pregnant with George.
There's something different about you tonight. A new brightness in your eyes. I wonder, how is that portrait progressing?
She definitely looked happier, lively, and Charlotte picked up on that pretty easily.
Faster than I'd expected. Mr. Lockhart is prodigiously talented.
She meant the kids happened quicker than she expected. Everything with Georgiana and Lockhart right now is going really well for them.
How did you fare with Mr. Colburn today?
I fear everyone's judgment was sound about him and the imprudence of my ambition.
The last time we heard from Charlotte and Mr. Holborn was that conversation they had and how she confronted Mr. Holborn about not allowing Augusta to attend tonight's ball. So she still has that same impression of Mr. Holborn, like, you know, he's just a very difficult boss, but at the same time, he's a very difficult man to understand, and to understand his life stories and understand his past, and he's not opening up to Charlotte. So she's just like, you know what, you're not telling me anything, I'm gonna judge you according to what I know so far and what everyone say about you.
But what will you do if you're no longer a governess?
I don't know.
You're not going to return to Willingdon and marry that farmer.
Ralph, no.
Keep this in the back of your mind. Most of us already know about Ralph's situation if you watch this season and if you know the sneak peek of season 3, but definitely keep this in the back of your mind. She is very determined to not marry Ralph, to not go back home just to marry this Ralph guy. We did see him a bit in the first episode of season 2. Charlotte and her family was at this wedding event, and that's when Mary came over and visited Charlotte just to tell Charlotte about the news of Sydney's death. So we haven't seen Ralph since then, and now we hear his name mentioned in this conversation. So yeah, definitely keep this in the back of your mind. She is definitely not in love with Ralph.
I don't understand why you won't consider Colonel Lennox. He is handsome, noble. You enjoy each other's company.
Georgiana.
What Georgiana said of Colonel Lennox, it is true, but there might be a bad side to him. We don't really know him, like, the complete story of Colonel Lennox, because Mr. Holborn hasn't told Charlotte his side of the story about what happened in the past between him and Lennox. I can see Charlotte, she's like looking away, she just like doesn't want to hear it, she doesn't want to hear Georgiana describing Lennox as this really, really good man. I think inside of Charlotte, she feels like there's something about Lennox that she's not comfortable with, but she hasn't figured it out yet.
You can't recapture what you had with Sydney. I will never love anyone as I loved Otis. That doesn't mean I can't find different kinds of passion.
Along with that, Georgiana mentioned like you can have Sydney alone, Sydney, too. Every man is different. Sydney was Sydney, and unfortunately he died, and you cannot talk to him right now. Like, you can't have him back. There will be another man that will come into Charlotte's life that gonna capture her heart and will make her fall in love again, and to open her heart to love again with whoever that man that she fall for. Georgiana trying to encourage her friend to open up her heart again to love and to be in a relationship and to fall in love again. I think Georgiana also knows that what Sydney would have wanted, that what Georgiana want, everyone in the Parker family want happiness for Charlotte and for her to find love again. Charlotte, she is still nervous to open her heart 100% to love again. It's scary. It's scary to fall in love again, especially after what she had with Sydney. She believed that Sydney was the one for her. She fell for him really hard. It was a very beautiful love story that they had before he married Eliza off. But I think deep down inside of Charlotte, I think she feels something for Mr. Heybourne, but I think she doesn't want it to become like bigger and bigger unless she finds out like the story, his side of the story, Mr. Heybourne's side of the story of what happened in the past with Lennox. She still doesn't know who to believe. Like, should she believe Lennox's story, or should she try again to ask Mr. Heybourne to tell her his side of the story? So there's still some question marks going on for Charlotte, and she's confused. She doesn't want to believe the wrong thing. Like, she wants to know in her heart what is true and what is not. And I think after she finds out the real truth about what happened in the past between Lennox and Mr. Heybourne, I think then she can finally decide, like, okay, like, if Mr. Heybourne not the bad guy in this love triangle situation, then she would confirm that she does have feeling for him. But if Lennox is the good guy and Mr. Heybourne was, the bad guy in all of this story with his late wife, then I think Charlotte would have let those two men go. I don't think she liked Lennox like she liked Mr. Heybourne. There was some, moment in season 2, especially that picnic when Mr. Heybourne handed her that cornflower. That was like the beginning of something for the two. I think that was like the first time they were in sync, like there was a connection. And Leonora was like watching that, and she knew it too. So there's so many things going on in Charlotte's head right now, and Georgiana, filling out her advice and her perspective on love. Charlotte just needs a room to just breathe and to calm her mind and just decide like what she needs to do. And also the question mark, like, does she want to keep working at the governess? Mr. Heybourne told her the last words that he told her at the office at work today before the ball, like, you have some decision to make. So let me know if you still want to work for me, or if you really don't like working for me, you can just, quit. So there's so many things going on for Charlotte, and it's big decision that she have to make, more than one decision. Her love life, her work life, what she really wants in her life, in her future.
What convinced you to come?
His shame, not mine. Why should I hide away?
Well then, your liveliest spirits. And Charlotte, as this is our last night as a happy trio, you must promise to enjoy yourself.
Fine. Yes, I promise.
I think Fraser's conversation with Allison encouraged Allison just to give another chance, just to attend the ball and just have fun and enjoy her last night in Sanditon, just to not allow Harder to ruin her happiness, her joy, her visit to Sanditon. Like, she doesn't want to end her journey in Sanditon on a bad note. So I think part of the reason why she's going tonight is because of Fraser. And I think if he didn't talk to her, I think she would stay home. That's my guess. Charlotte and Georgiana, of course, are happy to see Allison coming to the bar with them tonight. It is the last night for these three girls just to have fun and enjoy each other's company. Charlotte, you can see that she's still thinking a lot about her life, and Georgiana kindly reminding her, like, hey, we're going to a bar, like, just have fun, girls' night out, drama-free, like, no boys.
I think this means she will dance with the Colonel.
I did not say that.
No. But when you're wrapped in his strong arms, I shall be studying you closely. I somehow doubt he'll maintain your present composure.
Oh, you're both impossible.
Allison doesn't know that Georgiana and Charlotte were just talking about love and Sydney and moving on and finding a new relationship, new love with a different man. So Allison just like, oh, you're gonna dance with Colonel Lennox, and we already know that Charlotte really not excited to see Lennox for some certain reason, and she just, you know, trying to go to the ball with her sister and her friend and just like get over with, and they're teasing her about the man that she'll be dancing with and how they taking like votes like, oh, you're gonna be with Lennox and you'll be in his arms and dancing and getting all blushy and falling for him. But Charlotte's just not into Lennox, and I think it's a confirmation, like, by this point, like in episode 5 of season 2, I think it's obvious that she doesn't like Lennox like that.
Wish me luck, Fraser.
With what, sir?
Let's just say I hope I receive a better response from my Miss Hayward than Captain Carter did from his.
Oh boy, so he is planning to propose to her tonight. The way he said it, he talked about Harder, and Harder tried to propose to Allison. Now Colonel Lennox is trying to propose to Charlotte at tonight's ball. You can see, like, he has this game plan. Like, he's very determined to propose to Charlotte. She is definitely not ready for that, especially after that conversation she had with Georgiana before going to the ball. She's not ready for this relationship. She's not completely open to love again, not yet. So Charlotte and Colonel Lennox are definitely not on the same page in their friendship, in their relationship. So I'm pretty sure Charlotte would say no to him.
Was this wise?
Harder saw Allison. He looked away just to make it not too awkward. Lennox was looking at Charlotte, anticipating the proposal that he will bring forth to Charlotte later that night. Fraser confidently looked at Allison, and he knows by seeing her at the ball that she feel a little bit better after that conversation and that she's brave enough to enjoy tonight's ball. Allison was overthinking. She was like, is this a good idea to show up to tonight's ball? But I love the sisterhood support from Georgiana and Charlotte, just ensuring her that she will be okay and that Charlotte and Georgiana will be there for her if she needs anything. Good for Allison for going to tonight's ball. I mean, that takes a lot of guts to be brave and show up to this tonight event. Georgiana saw Larka, he saw her. They were hatching glances at each other. They are definitely on a good term with each other now. I'm wondering, if Mary will ever find out. And I'm just curious what Mary gonna say about it. I know she's not gonna approve it, that's for sure.
Mary tells me there will be some highly eligible gentlemen here.
Quite so, Georgiana.
Yes, we shall see you married by your 21st birthday yet.
Georgiana is trying to cheer Allison up that there are plenty of fish in the water, plenty of single men at tonight's ball. Mary also cheering Allison on. Mary knows what happened between Allison and Carter as well. Tom Parker jumped in and he became a little bit business talk, like telling Georgiana that she still needs to get married, hopefully by her 21st birthday. The pressure is back on Georgiana, and I don't think she liked the fact that Tom said that to her in front of everyone.
And you, Charlotte. I hope that you will be dancing this evening. I know that Sydney will want to see you dancing again.
Tom definitely thought about that conversation he had with his wife, and that's led him to telling Charlotte right now, like, he hoped that Charlotte will be dancing tonight, not for his sake, but for Sydney, and just reminding her at the same time that Sydney would have wanted her to be happy, to dance, to enjoy life, and eventually to fall in love again down the road if that opportunity comes for her.
As do I.
Thank you, Tom.
Yes.
I think this was something that she did not expect at all. We haven't really seen him and Charlotte talk much in season 2. I think this is like the most deep conversation they ever had in the entire show history. But I think she appreciated, she was thankful that Tom said that to her, and I think it was like a little signal to her that Tom knew that there was something going on between Charlotte and Sydney, and just him letting her know, like, hey, like, you know, I'm sorry that you and Sydney did not get together and get married because of me and my business mistakes. He didn't say that, but it was just kind of like, you know, that was his intention. And Charlotte, you know, got it. She understood. She appreciated what he told her. He said it from out of his heart. He meant it. And part of him, like, he hoped that Charlotte will be able to find love again, because he felt really bad after that conversation with Mary when she told him that Charlotte and Sydney were in love. Colonel Lennox is keeping tabs on Charlotte, just making sure where she is. I think he's trying to find the right time to get her to a private room to propose to her. I think he's a little bit worried because he said to Fraser, I hope Charlotte said yes to me because Allison said no to Carter. So I'm pretty sure he's feeling the nerves and excitement at the same time for this proposal that he planned for Charlotte. We'll see how that goes.
Good luck, Colonel.
He is ready to propose to Charlotte. Fraser already knew that. That's why he wished him good luck. We'll see what happens next.
Miss Hayward, permit me the honour of the first dance.
She would be delighted.
Knowing what happened in season 2 and what to expect in season 3, it's funny looking back on this episode and watching Georgiana and Allison cheering Charlotte on to be with Colonel Lennox. Like, they're like Team Lennox, like, all the way. We'll see what happens. But for now, Lennox is inviting Charlotte for a dance, and Charlotte seemed interested in the dance, and he's the first guy that asked her for the dance of the night, so lucky for him. Also, Tom Parker is giving that type of look like he doesn't like Lennox at all. If you know season 2, the biggest storyline for Tom Parker was that he ran into more debts because he gambled and he had the gambling game going on with Lennox and his men, and the shopkeepers in town is are out of money. Like Tom couldn't pay the workers in town, so it's all a mess, another financial mess, just like season 1, but bigger in season 2. Mary trying to keep him calm, so that's why Tom is looking at Lennox seriously, you dancing with Charlotte. And this was after Tom told Charlotte that he hoped that Charlotte would dance tonight, but I don't think he thought that it would be with Lennox first, he probably thinking Charlotte would dance with a different man other than Lennox.
Doesn't seem so long ago since the first time we danced together.
To think how much has happened since that night.
I think part of her, she is enjoying it, but until this moment when she said so many things has happened ever since the first dance, it made me remember what's going on between Mr. Heybourne, Lennox, and Charlotte, that triangle dynamic. And we know that she's still trying to figure out what the issue with her boss when it comes to Lennox, and she hasn't know the story, Mr. Heybourne's side of the story just yet.
Is it not remarkable how the path of one's life can be so altered in just a few short weeks?
Lennox is marriage material, he's ready to get married, but on the other hand, I was thinking this is going too fast. This is Allison and Carter, this is a little bit too fast. He thinks that he has Charlotte under his control, that they will actually get married, and no, this is the woman that he is destined to be with. Charlotte, she would definitely say no. She's not ready for a marriage. Her mind is not ready for another relationship just yet. She still has some doubts, some questions, especially about Lennox's past with Mr. Heybourne. So the way that he talking about how much his life had changed, is basically telling Charlotte she changed his life for the better, and he thinks that she's the one for him, which is really not. And Charlotte, I'm pretty sure she's gonna say no if he does propose to her tonight at the mall.
It's most agreeable to enjoy your company without fear of interruption by your employer.
Quite.
I don't think she is enjoying it romantically. I think she's just enjoying it as friends, enjoying the dance as friends with him. Of course, he had to bring up the topic of her boss, and she doesn't know the whole story just yet. It's right now, it looks like Lennox is the good guy, and that the way that he bring up Mr. Heybourne into this conversation, it sounds like Mr. Heybourne is actually the bad guy. And basically Lennox thank God he's not here. If not, he would have stole Charlotte from me, and I wouldn't have a moment with her and possibly propose to her tonight. It's like that competition vibe, two guys competing for the same woman.
Although I cannot say with certainty how long he shall remain my employer.
I'm glad to hear it.
Charlotte released some important information to Lennox, telling him that she might lose her job, and I'm pretty sure this would make him happy and probably make him think he has a better chance in proposing to her tonight, knowing that he wouldn't have to worry about his future wife continuing her employment with Mr. Heybourne. At the same time, that look on her face after she told him, it sounds like she's still not wanting to leave the job. She really doesn't want to leave her job. She doesn't really want to quit, but she had the pressure of dealing with the boss that's very tough on her and very stubborn at times. And there's so much drama already between her and Mr. Heybourne, and that crossing the line of work and personal matters. Her job became very personal to Mr. Heybourne, and the two girls. I mean, it's obvious, it's a governess, like you kind of like become part of the family, but it's much more than a job right now. It's like she's not a nanny, she's not a governess, she's actually becoming a friend of the family, if that makes sense. She's getting involved a lot in the family matters through her job for Mr. Heybourne.
Does that suggest you've been giving some thought to your future, Miss Hayward?
Tom Parker looking at Leonard from behind his back. I think that was the look like, seriously, you dance with Charlotte? I don't think he liked the idea of Leonard dancing with Charlotte. Like, he did tell Charlotte, like, you know, go dance tonight, but he didn't want Charlotte to dance with Leonard. The second reason he looking at Leonard like that, because Tom really hates what Leonard is doing and the financial mess that Tom is in, just because he was gullible and fell for the traps that Leonard set up to get Tom in trouble and to get into this financial debt situation. So that's a big drama, a big storyline that have been going on since the beginning of season 2.
Excuse me, Colonel. My sister needs me.
I think Charlotte avoided that question that Leonard is asked about the future, their future. I think she avoided that on purpose and just like, I'm gonna use the excuse of my sister needing me so I can just leave this dance and have some fresh air. I don't think she was prepared to answer that question. Leonard was like getting ready to talk about the future in marriage and the proposal. Charlotte is definitely not ready. You know, it's a big question, and she's not even like dating him officially, you know, like she's not on the same page as him. But I definitely think that she avoided his question on purpose. And at the same time, she does care for her sister, of course. Like, she wants to keep an eye on her sister at tonight ball. But it's obvious, like, the way she went around the bush and just politely declining to talk about the future by just using her sister as an excuse. My favorite dance in the entire show, you might get mad at me, but it was between Sydney and Charlotte. The chemistry when Sydney and Charlotte danced in season 1 is just so beautiful. My favorite was when Charlotte was wearing that gold dress. The scenery was beautiful, the music was beautiful, the dance move, playing against the music, it was really something special, and that's my favorite of the entire show history so far. Leonard and Charlotte, they don't have much chemistry when they dance together. Mr. Heybourne and Charlotte, that's another story, and we will get to that when we reach that point.